Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Uptown Villa Park. This is Tuesday, September 16th, 2015. See, I got the date right, so we got one in a row right things that I've said on this program. And we are here with another great person from Villa Park, and we'll introduce him in a moment. But we got a couple of things to talk about that happened over this weekend. In fact, a whole ton of things that happened here in Villa Park over the weekend. And we'll start off with the interview that people have been watching for the last 2 weeks, which was us out at Sugar Creek Golf Course with Dave Anderson and Kevin. We'll think of his name in a second.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
He's the groundskeeper.
The superintendent. We have to correct him.
Superintendent.
He's got a better title.
Well, he's got somebody else to cut the grass.
That's right. So he's not the ground. And they had a great 40th year anniversary celebration over at Sugar Creek. I took my grandchildren out there. We had fun hitting buckets of balls out on the driving range that were free, and the food spread. You were there, Dennis, right?
I was there. We had a wonderful food spread all the way through.
Yeah. I'm going to find out who that caterer is because that was awesome food.
Okay.
And they had a nice spread there for the banquet, and people were out there from several eras, including the guy that we talked about during the show that had been there for 30 years. He came up to us and introduced himself. Art.
Yep.
Came up and introduced himself and talked a little bit about his experience at Sugar Creek. Now he's on a couple days a week, couple of hours a week, but a great facility here.
He's 82 years old and he's still working part-time.
Isn't that great?
Isn't that wonderful? Yes, it is. Yeah.
I hope to be like that.
Well, we're there. We're there.
Yeah, you're working here.
And I want to say this, Al, that
What do you want to say?
when
Hi,
Sugar
Sid.
Creek,
This is Sid Bergh for everybody on TV land. This is Sid Bergh.
even with the shiny elm disease or beetle, not beetle, the ash beetle.
Emerald ash borer.
Emerald ash borer.
Right.
Thank you, Al.
That's right.
And I appreciate that.
My pleasure.
And the loss of several hundred trees out at the Sugar Creek, it's still one of the most beautiful courses around, and especially for a 9-hole course.
Yeah, it definitely is, and I enjoy playing there. My grandchildren, my sons enjoy playing there. I'm sure our guest Dave has played there a couple of times. I know because I photographed you out there on the 9th green.
But
giving a little English to the putt.
And it didn't work. Yeah.
You didn't golf in the chamber function. How come?
I couldn't make it this year.
Oh, your staff was there, but you weren't there.
Well, yeah. Well, we had to class it up. That's why the staff was there.
He's a busy man, and that's why. But there was a couple other things that were awesome over the weekend before we even get to Oktoberfest, and that's Paws on the Path that was done by the Pride Commission at the gazebo at Park and Ardmore. And that's a adoption opportunity for people that want to pick up a dog that's been through a rescue program. For example, they had greyhounds there that had been in Florida racetracks. They had collies, they had beagles, all kinds of breeds of animals there, including cats. And a great event by the Pride Commission, run again this year. Lots of people along the Prairie Path, so a good event. And then, of course, Oktoberfest was
Well, before
awesome.
you get off Paws of the Path, I want you to say that the VFW, your local 2801, had hot dogs.
That's one.
hot dogs.
Wait,
That's
see
one.
how many commercials he gets in. That's one. It's also part of the pad. Did you know if you adopted an animal, they come out and interview you before you can adopt it?
You can't just take an animal
You just
home.
can't take an animal home. You got to be, and they got to go out and check your house and everything. My wife Joanne did the interviews for some of the adoptions, and she goes out and checks the homes and everything. Does home visits.
What do they look for? Joanne,
If they got a fence in the yard.
Fenced in yard, okay.
If they got kids that are okay with dogs.
Yeah.
This is the biggest thing. I have 2 kids and I want a dog. Has your kids ever been around dogs?
Yeah.
We
Are they
don't-
going to jump
no.
on them, kick them? Yeah.
Yeah. Are they going to love them or are they going to kick them? You know, you said truthfully. So she goes out and does the interview for some of the adoption, people. And my other daughter up in Milwaukee, she's got rescue dogs at her house. I think she's got 5 right now.
Yeah, kind of like a foster care.
Yeah, foster
for dogs,
care.
right.
And it's interesting.
Yeah.
They take better care of them than they do kids. Or they adopt the kids.
That's true. A lot of people.
You can talk. You can get into this anytime you want.
You see it on Facebook a lot. I mean, there's umpteen people posting pictures every single day about dogs and dog videos and dogs this, dog that, and trying to promote their breed. Everybody thinks
they all got
that
their own breed. They got their own breeds. That's right.
But I took my grandchildren out there. They loved it, and we took them there because we were on the way from Sugar Creek to Oktoberfest at Lions Park, and that was a great 3 days. Little cool in the
Friday was cool,
evening,
but
Friday.
Saturday was beautiful.
Saturday was just gorgeous.
Yeah.
Sid, were you at the? You were there. You were a bingo guy.
We were playing, we were
who?
running a bingo game for the Villa Park VFNW of the US of A.
That's
Two.
2 of 3 that you
Two.
get on the program.
I got more.
You got one more. But bingo was there. But there was a great band on Friday night. Semple was the name of the band. SEMPLE. Lots of people enjoyed that band, and I got a chance to watch them. They were great. A couple of Irish boys in that group. You'd like that, right? You're Irish descent, right?
Kind of.
Kind of.
Okay.
A little bit.
Yeah, a lot of it.
A lot of it. Okay. But that was a great band. And then Saturday night, the big headliners, of course, was Seventh Heaven, who is they've been picked as the #1 regional band in the Midwest, Chicago area Midwest, several times. They do 200 shows a year. Been on all of the local TV channels here in the Chicago area and some network channels. And they just did an excellent show. Big crowd drinking beer for the Lions Club, right?
Yeah.
The Lions Club had the beer
They had the
concessions.
beer again,
Yeah, yeah.
and we just heard this morning it wasn't as good as it has been, but
Not a record breaker, but
not-
they did all right.
They did okay.
Yeah, yeah.
And half of that money goes back to the village, by the way.
Yeah, yeah.
Goes
Part
back-
goes to the Lions and part goes to the village.
That's right. Half
Right.
the money goes back to half the profits.
And we be remiss without pointing out that Lions Park was originally owned or donated by Lions Club International
That's
to
right.
the Village of Villa Park, and to be a eternal park.
If
facility.
if the village wanted to do anything but about parking there, Lions get to take it back.
Yeah,
They don't have to give it up.
And the Lions took possession of that when the Villa Park Softball League, Baseball League,
yeah.
went bankrupt.
Oh, okay.
And in fact, they were going belly up and just said we were going to walk away, and the Lions Club took it over, paid off their debts, and then donated it to the village.
Well, you know, in my opinion, you look at that property and what's around it. I mean, there's a couple of businesses on the north end that kind of closed it off there with the businesses there. On the west end, there's homes. On the south end, there's a parking lot, and then off into some local streets. And then on the east end is a great shopping center. Just a
Why don't
You're
you
familiar with that
introduce the shopping center?
On the north
Big,
end, on the north end is the great shopping center.
yeah, and that's been kind of a landlocked position. And I point that out because there's not a great opportunity for commercial development in that spot, in my opinion, because it's kind of closed off in all directions. Sure, things could change, but it's kind of going to be a park forever, I hope. And there may be plans for things in the future like a pool there. People talked about putting a pool in a multi-purpose facility for the Parks Department there, and we'll see if that ever happens.
Now we have to go back and explain. That's Al's opinion only. It's
Oh, yeah.
not the village opinion.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's
We
constantly
don't want.
running
We,
on the
we
bottom
don't
of
want.
the
We don't
screen.
want the. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. I don't speak for the village.
At
that is
all.
for sure.
At all. Yeah.
But let me see who's on camera. We are, okay. But let's get to our guest. And, oh, by the way, and the last thing about Oktoberfest. Were you there Sunday?
No.
Were you there Sunday?
No, I wasn't there Sunday, but I wanted to say this, that Saturday during the day, which was a little cool,
Yeah.
but turned out beautifully, it wasn't as well attended as it has been in the past.
Yeah.
And I don't understand why.
I tell
Because
you.
even
look.
during the day, it was so beautiful, and the entertainment
You
was
can't break
good.
records every year. The crowds were good. There were good crowds there. I mean, Saturday night had a great crowd. Yeah, they didn't sell all of the beer, but they had a great crowd. And when you were there Friday night with the VFW, I did it for you this time, giving a special presentation for September 11th, 9/11, on stage, just before Semple got on stage. That was a good event. There was a good crowd there. So, yeah, you didn't fill the park, but it was a great event.
But
Let's put it that way.
but Saturday night they had big competition with American English in Elmhurst.
Oh, American English, I didn't know
They
that
were down.
there,
They were
yeah,
down on
because
York
they're-
Road on English, and they had a packed house down there.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, American English, they
Yeah.
always pack the
They
house.
packed them in.
Yeah,
Of
American
course, they
English-
charge too.
American English is the
They
Beatles
yeah.
cover band,
Yeah.
and they do a great job.
But they were in Elmhurst Saturday night.
Yeah, Yeah. Well, in spite of all the great things that happen on the weekend, we have an even better event today, and that is the appearance of our own David Casey from Mike's Meat Market here in Villa Park. And Dave, it is a pleasure to see you again.
Thank you.
I
Thanks
see you
for having
often
me.
here in Villa Park because you do a lot of things besides meat market business. You're on a commission, or were in the past?
I am currently serving on the Economic Development Commission.
Okay.
In the past, I've been on the Chamber
Okay.
of Commerce.
And you're on this planning and zoning group, are you not?
The comprehensive planning,
Right.
which I worked on there with Dennis a couple years ago.
couple years ago.
Yeah. And you're on the new one that's helping redo the
Oh,
zoning?
yeah, as far as the compliance codes for construction, or new
Yeah.
construction, I guess.
So what are you going to zone Mike's Meat Market? Anything you want?
I haven't made a meeting yet, so I don't know. We'll see.
Well, let's back up to the EDC. You've been on that now for how many years?
EDC is the Economic Development Commission.
Yeah.
5 years, I
5 or
believe.
6 more
Yeah.
than that, yeah.
And what do you do?
And
What is that group?
well, this past year, I was going to go into that. This past year, you brought in how many new businesses?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, they brought in quite a few new businesses people don't even know about, you know.
But as a committee member, you're not responsible for any of that.
No.
We've
Right.
got
But you
know,
play a
Jan
part.
Fiola, who
Yeah,
has
she-
really done a great job.
she has.
and
She's
brought
been
a
out
lot of
more,
new
yeah.
And Jan
businesses
Fiola
to
is
town.
Economic Development Director here in Villa Park.
That is correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And but what is the role of the Economic Development Commission? What do you do?
You're hoping to stimulate economic growth within the village. So whether it's some of these events that we've had, like up at Crazy Pour, like a broker and developer meeting, and just to show what Villa Park has to offer.
Yeah.
And the nice thing, and it's an exciting time to be in Villa Park because there's a lot of stuff that's going on.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So it's great. It's encouraging.
In the past years, they had a meeting for Roosevelt Road. They had a meeting for North Avenue.
Right.
Downtown area, whatever they call it today.
Whichever
Yeah,
one that is.
Yeah, we're still trying to identify that.
Yeah.
The one thing we found, like we would do a corridor meeting, so any of the businesses like on North Avenue or St. Charles Road or Roosevelt Road,
Yeah.
if there's a hot topic, the meeting will be well attended. So when there was all this discussion about the construction project for St. Charles Road a couple years ago, and everybody thought that the repaving project was going to turn into something more.
Yeah.
And that meeting was just, it was packed to the
Packed,
gills.
yeah. Mhm.
And everybody came in, in anticipation of wondering what is going to happen to our, shopping area.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, another group that you, kind of a loose connected group is the Old Town Villa Avenue group. That's spurred a couple of years, and that is the development of the Villa Avenue, we'll call it the Villa Avenue downtown choice.
That
Because of
historic
our-
district, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've been trying to figure out, like, what's the best way to label that as, but it's,
Yeah,
the Villa Avenue Business District.
right.
Yeah.
And that pretty much goes from St. Charles Road through the shopping center that Mike's Meat Market is in, to the museum, correct?
That is correct.
Down Villa Avenue, so it includes all of those businesses and great businesses. Rampart Lion, the folks over there are helping run it.
Big
Tony's
time.
Barbershop, 7-Eleven's there, the real estate, Josephine. There's a lot of great things there. Mahoney's.
In that small area, yeah.
Yeah.
And and the nice thing about it is it's, all small business, and everybody is real passionate about what they do,
Yeah.
which helps. And we just had a meeting last week because we have our little Halloween trick-or-treating thing coming up on Saturday the 24th. Like Sid, I'm going to plug something that's probably not on the agenda,
Do it,
but
do it.
I
That's
believe
why
it's
we're here.
1:30 to 3 p.m.
Right. And what
Um,
is that?
We're going to have the kids go up and down Villa Avenue, hit all the businesses, and we just load them up with candy.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like
Give 'em a
an
sugar
appetizer for the next Saturday when it's Halloween.
Yeah.
But it's a great way of getting our name out there.
Right.
A lot of times Villa Avenue is kind of like, well, actually the shopping area in Villa Park, because we don't have that concentrated downtown.
Right.
So we're just trying to, tell everybody, hey, we're here.
Yeah, and you look at it, and I don't want to bring up 1914, 1917 arguments, but the alternative for downtown, until something possibly happens up by the train station, is Ardmore. And Ardmore is totally different, or Park Boulevard, where you were in the past as Mike's Meat Market. There's a few places there, but not the breadth of retail spaces that are there on Villa Avenue. So really, Villa Avenue is the de facto downtown, in my opinion.
Okay.
Okay.
And I want you to know that it's just your opinion,
Yeah, yeah.
not everybody else's.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
you don't even live on the Ardmore Villa side. You're way on the south end. I don't know why you're taking.
Taking sides.
30 years on South Wisconsin Avenue.
Okay, that's where it comes from. Well, we want to talk about something that.
Well, wait a minute. We got commercials for VFW and everything else.
Yes.
I get a newsletter from Mike every week. What's your special this week?
Yeah, that's fine.
Oh, yeah, don't put me on the hot spot.
Yeah, because you might have to make up one.
Well, everybody thinks I do the newsletter, which I don't.
Oh, I thought so.
No,
Because,
but my nephew Joe does, and
Okay.
he manages the store in Western Springs. And it must be, like a family trait or something like that, that kind of sense of humor that we have, that not everybody laughs at our jokes, but we do,
Yeah.
that type
Well,
of thing.
that's the main thing.
Yeah, exactly.
so how do people get one if they don't get one now? How
You just go to our website. You go to caseysmarketonline.com.
Okay.
And then you can sign up for the newsletter. And it's nice because Joe takes a little bit of time, and for each community, Villa Park or Western Springs, he'll
Yeah.
always list what's going on.
in the community?
Yeah, like even things for the
Thanks for
VFW.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Thanks
stuff
for
like that.
For
And it's
giving.
got a nice little following.
Yes, it does.
And we don't sell off our email list either. So I know a lot of people are a little, apprehensive about signing on for something like that. But, all we send out is a newsletter once a week.
Every week.
Well, I would say along this line that I would say sign up. And if you get junk mail, well, my son-in-law is a mail carrier, and I want to keep him working.
But it normally would be electronic, right? You get the
Absolutely,
electronic,
yeah.
So you just hit delete if you don't like it. But
What's that?
we have
What
to
is
go
that?
back and start all over again, because I want to talk about the history of Mike's Meat Market and Casey's Market that you just mentioned a moment ago. And I went online and read on that website the history of your business and how it progressed from where it was to now. But the first location was not here in Villa Park, it was in Western Springs, right?
No, actually, it was here on
Oh,
Park
it's here.
Boulevard, yeah.
Park River, first one.
And the old story goes that my father worked for other small companies, and he always wanted to go into business for himself. Well,
Yeah.
being one of 8 kids,
Your father's first name was?
Mike.
Mike, okay.
And so my mom, being the sensible
He
one,
just
was
passed away a year ago or so.
2 years.
2 years now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now he was an icon. He really was.
He was a very good. As being an old butcher, I would know that for sure.
That's why you can identify with
That-
our behaviors.
That's
right.
right. That's right.
But so when he decided he wanted to go into business for himself, and a couple of times that when that discussion came up, my mother shot him down. So
Yeah,
he had taken a look at the place on Park, and it was called Rossi's.
Rossi's, okay.
And so he put a bid on it. Then he went home. So it was one of those.
Rossi's a butcher? Or
They were a little bit of a butcher, but it was predominantly like a deli.
Okay.
And so after he had signed the papers, it was ask for permission, no, beg for forgiveness, and
Right
that's
after
kind of
you're
what
done,
he
yeah.
did. But as an olive branch, my mother's brother, whose name was Mike, and he was a butcher for Jewel. My dad said, "Well, you know what? We'll have your brother be my partner."
Mm-hmm.
So the saying was, it wasn't Mike's singular; it was Mike's plural.
Mike's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we had, 2 Mikes. They lasted together for like about a year and a half or so. And then my uncle went up to Park Ridge and he opened his own butcher shop there. And, when you were talking about the Park Boulevard, Ardmore area and being a shopping district, in the day when my dad opened up, you had 3Ds.
Yeah, Jewel.
Well, not only Jewel, but we had the pharmacy, we had the bakery.
Yeah.
And there was a lot
There
of
was
activity there.
The
I think
downtown
when you
was
opened up, too,
downtown.
there was a National Tea.
No, it was before we opened up.
National was down
Oh,
Villa,
okay.
wasn't it? Yeah.
The A&P there was
There was an
they
Epsilon
changed in
on the
there,
park
and
Central,
I know
Okay.
the A&P was at finally later on moved to Villa Avenue.
Yeah, at Villa and Kenilworth, right.
Yeah,
Right.
that they had a big fire there.
Yeah. Okay, so continue.
Well, that's
We like to
How
get,
did we get
folks,
to where we are?
sorry, we
Yeah, no
like to
kidding.
get off the track, but that's we'll just say, Dave, go.
Never off the track.
All right, here we go.
Yeah.
Well, so then after my uncle left, my older brother Dan got involved in the business.
Okay.
And, my dad was kind enough to let us come work.
Yeah.
So customers used to ask, because, at a young age, I think I started working for him when I was 13 years old.
Uh-huh.
Customers would comment about, the child labor laws, and he goes, "It doesn't count if they're your kids." And I thought, there is no way I'll ever do this for a living. This is hard work, and it's just there's no glory in it, And now look at it. So here it is, many years later. But we opened up in Western Springs. There was a great opportunity in 1980. So we're right in the heart of downtown Western Springs, across from the train station. And so my father and my brother Dan would rotate back and forth, and spend a couple weeks here and whatnot, and found out that it was best if Mike stayed in Villa Park and Dan stayed in Western Springs.
Okay.
And then my father, realizing that my brother and I would probably, either start raising hell or butting heads or anything like that, so then he just had me work in Villa Park with him.
Yeah.
And then as he got older, he started to spend less time. He was just he'd come in, show up once in a while, grab lunch, yell at us, tell us what we're doing wrong, and off we'd go,
Yeah.
Then we had an opportunity to take over a business that had just shut down in Naperville. It was called Colony Foods.
Okay.
And we went in there and took a look at it, and we talked to several people in the business, and they're like, this is a great location, it's well supported, it was just mismanaged. So we got in as partners and built that up. And then shortly after that took off, then my father had enough.
Okay.
Physically, mentally, just all those years,
Right.
diabetic, so it took its toll.
Sure.
So my brother and I bought him out, and then we operated the 3 stores together. And then now I'm trying to think what year it was, 1990. Oh gosh, wait a minute. Yeah, late 90s, early 2000. We separated the business. So my brother's got the Naperville store, and I've got Villa Park and Western Springs.
Okay. Okay. So your brother's still in Naperville? And
Yes, he
what
is.
name? What's the name of it?
Casey's Foods.
Casey's Foods. Okay. Okay. All right. So you were on Park Boulevard, but then you moved to Villa and St. Charles, into the shopping center right up by the borderline between Elmhurst and Villa Park.
It was a tough move. My father had owned the building, and we had outgrown it, several years prior, but the rent was real cheap. So I thought that's okay, we can overlook that. But by the same token, the building was starting to show the signs of age. So infrastructurally, it was in pretty bad shape. So we started exploring some options of how we could, remain there and be able to expand, and it just wasn't in the cards. So the pottery location that was over at the shopping center, which used to be Annunziato's pharmacy,
Yeah.
that was up for rent. And so I just kind of looked at that and thought, maybe not.
Yeah.
And talked to the gentleman from the shopping center, and they were really great guys to work with. I thought, wow, here's a great thing, a good location. There was some seed money that Elmhurst was throwing out there.
Okay.
And I know they're still doing that, trying to develop their downtown area.
Like 10 grand or something for a new business.
Yeah,
or something.
yeah, and it's not really going to scratch the surface for what we needed, but having cut my teeth in the business and more or less grew up in that store, it was kind of hard to leave Villa Park because we had such a great customer following or fan base,
Right.
So it was just a perfect thing. It worked out really good. I was a little hesitant on doing that, and when we were slated to open was on the eve of my 20th wedding anniversary.
Uh-oh. Oh,
So our opening
yeah.
day was 06/06/06, and I told my wife, I said, well, instead of a diamond, I'll give you this.
So what are you going to get her next year? The 30th, isn't it?
Well, I don't know. We won't. We won't discuss that.
But let me ask you about the build-out that you would have had done in that new location. A lot of people look at the storefront that's on the front half, which is outstanding. I mean, you got the deli, you've got the aisles of packaged goods, and then you've got the meat, fish, and poultry on the back end. But in the back of the store, I'm sure you had some heavy build-out because there wasn't a butcher before.
Yeah, we had to put in, and we had to work hand in hand with DuPage County Health Department.
Yeah.
And so they pretty much drive the bus. So the floor plans that we had changed it 12 different times.
Wow.
And the big thing was having hand sinks, and it's all about sanitation. And so once we had finally had our approval, we had to put in, and it's not that large of a store, as you know, you've been in there. It's maybe about 7,200 square feet. We had to put in 12 hand sinks. So they had to do since we're on a concrete slab, they had to do all these concrete cuts to accommodate all the drains.
Plumbing,
Yeah.
Yeah, wow.
So yeah, it was pretty involved.
Yeah. Now, you're in we'll call it a strip mall. I don't know if people like that term, but you are. Where do you get your deliveries? In the back end?
Yeah. In fact, when you look at the front of the store, it's actually a T shape. So
Yeah.
where the bait and tackle shop is,
Right,
I've
that's
got a little service entrance on the back there, and then also off of Villa Avenue.
Okay, okay.
So
there's a new TFW exercise facility.
training for warriors, yeah.
Right next door to you, right?
What a great thing they've got going on there, and it's nice because we almost have a full shopping center now.
Even on the far end, it used to be Metro Vision.
Salt
years
Creek
ago.
Pottery had opened up just
From
recently.
Alvarez?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got a sign that says open, so I haven't been in there yet. I was in there when he was starting to open the store. I think his name is Ron or Randy.
Yeah, I haven't met him yet, but
Yeah, nice guy. And I was in there, and he was just still putting shelves up and stuff. But I did see when I was tooling around for Oktoberfest, he is open, so we got to check him out. But yeah, you got a new facility next door. You got the Ace Hardware that was vacant for a little bit and reopened, and still Cuppy's Bakery and the laundromat.
yeah, it's a great, and energetic shopping center that we have going on there now with all the viable businesses, and it's really encouraging to see. And if we had talked about some of the things that you see in Villa Park.
Yeah.
That's just a small little snapshot
Right.
of things happening in town here.
And I'd be remiss. I'm sorry. Funky Java is also on that.
Funky
Well,
Joe.
Coffee
that's
house. Yeah. And the other thing that you have right out front there is a bookstore or resale store for books, and also Deb Conroy's office is there,
Mhm.
our Illinois State Representative. So if you have any problems, you just walk right over and tell Deb, and it gets fixed. Right.
She'll take care of them
I
all.
don't have any problems.
She has. Sid interviewed Deb a couple of weeks ago. Yeah, no
Yeah.
problem.
Yeah.
Debbie is just, she would make me a Democrat in
Yeah.
DuPage County.
Go ahead, try it. It doesn't hurt. The other thing that I want to talk about is my experience with Mike's Meat Market. And I got to tell you, it's always been great. So if you want a survey, give it to me. Yeah. And I told you this is kind of like a Diane Ahmed show, but Don, we don't invite to the show. And I say that honestly because I told you before we got started that a couple of times, and I still have the chest freezer in the basement that I use for other things, a couple of times I got either a quarter or a half a cow from Mike's Meat Market, either at Park Boulevard or your new site. So I got a couple of times. And I think Brian was usually my assistant in figuring out how many pounds of ground beef and how many steaks and how many roasts I wanted. And I have thoroughly enjoyed every product I bought there, especially now my featured product at your place, besides the Boar's Head Deli section, is the fresh made bratwursts and all the varieties and flavors, onion and cheese. Oh wow, that's just fantastic stuff. Where did that all come from? The making of the sausages. Who started that system?
My dad did back in the day. Our offerings were pretty much 4 or 5 different types of sausage. You'd have Italian sausage, bratwurst,
Yeah.
breakfast sausage, things like that. Then we just kind of expanded it. It's nice because we have a lot of creative minds that work for us and they've come up with some great ideas. And everybody, it's all in.
Yeah.
And when you mentioned Brian,
Right.
there's a guy who is the face of Mike's Market.
Right. He's behind the counter usually.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Brian runs the store.
Yeah.
And I always find it great when I get to lace up an apron and go stand behind the counter and I'm helping out customers. And now there's a whole new generation of customers that have come in.
Don't know you at all, do they?
No, they don't.
They don't know
And
you
one
at
day
all.
somebody asked Brian about the new guy. Who's the new guy? How do you answer that? So
The answer, thank God, because he's doing a great job.
Well,
Absolutely.
let's go back in history a little bit. When your father bought the place, he used to get hindquarters and forequarters in.
yeah.
You still get them that way or not?
But not at the same level.
Yeah.
I mean,
You
the
get
buying habits.
box meats now.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of the big outfits that were like down in the city have since left.
Yeah.
So they're not really dealing with swinging beef that much anymore. And
Yeah.
like you mentioned, a lot of it comes in a box.
Yeah.
And we can still get it.
But you get younger guys couldn't carry it if he had to get them nowadays.
Oh my gosh, yeah. But
fork-
that was we used to get beef delivery 2 or 3 times a week.
Yeah.
And it's funny because now we've seen this evolution, how the whole industry has changed. So it's not so much like the pot roasts and things like that. Now you're doing like these things, whether it's marinated items or like stuffed chicken breasts, homemade meatloaves, things like that that are quick and easy.
Yeah.
So you can just pop it in the oven, hour and a half or whatever. So the whole, like when you look at the landscape of our meat case, it's nothing like how it was.
Right.
But you
back
still
in the
cut
day.
meat there.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, you go to the main stores nowadays, everything comes in packaged for them. And you don't know when they got packaged, if it got packaged a month ago or...
And I think that's what served us well. I've got 6 butchers. You've got a couple of
meat cutters.
Yeah. Meat cutter
we don't-
sounds
we
better.
don't- we
Yeah,
don't-
butcher
we
kind
don't
of takes
call-
something negative. You're right.
Yeah.
So yeah, we cut our own beef. We make our own sausage. We grind. Which that's a big thing. If you're
Yeah.
grinding all your meat in house, it's not the stuff that comes in a tube.
No,
you look
yeah.
at the amount of recalls that there have been in recent years with E. coli and
Yeah.
stuff like that. So that it's all under our control.
That's right. And going back when I was a butcher in the 50s and 60s, it was a different story.
Oh yeah.
And your father used to be able to carry 2 hindquarters at a time.
Oh my God, yeah.
That's a lot of meat.
Yeah.
That's a lot of
Yeah.
meat. Big weight. But the other thing that I want to mention is I said it briefly, Boar's Head. That was kind of an addition, not too long ago, to your deli section, right? I
And
mean,
we
they're
were
relatively new, right?
Boar's Head is new to the Chicago market. I mean, we've been dealing with them now for 12, 15 years. But we were one of the first retail outlets in Chicago.
Yeah.
And anybody that lived either out in the West Coast or East Coast were familiar with this Boar's Head
Boar's Head.
brand. It's gluten-free. Like the turkey breast doesn't have collagen in it, so it's all good quality stuff.
Yeah.
Is it inexpensive? No, it's not. You get what you pay for. And at first I kind of scoffed at the notion, but that has grown by leaps and bounds. And that's a big part of our deli case when you walk in. And again, when we talk about the old days, the deli counter was an afterthought, in the butcher shops.
That's just
You'd
about in the 60s.
you'd have like your Polish ham, Oscar Mayer bologna, and American cheese, and
That was-
that was about it.
That was punishment duty for butchers at that time. If you got in trouble with the meat department, we'll put you in the deli. Go put you in. Yes, ma'am. How do you want? Quarter of a pound of this?
Is it sliced right? No. Slice it thinner. Oh.
But it
You know,
changed.
Al, and Dave, I can remember a million years ago, well, maybe not quite, I might be a little theatrical saying that, but my mother-in-law would shop, and she'd say, at Mike's Market, boy, that's got good stuff. And I said to her one time, if we recall this memory, but they're expensive. And she just said one word, taste. And that shut me down.
Yeah.
That was a real shut because it was always so worthwhile.
Yeah.
So
And
good.
I went on, they on the website they have this service called Yelp, Y-E-L-P, where people can give their opinion and rate restaurants, businesses, et cetera, et cetera. And I went on for Mike's Meat Market and Casey's, and you read down the list. The options are 1 to 5, so you can say 5 is the best, 1 is the worst, and you read all the way down, and they're 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5.
Uh-huh.
Mine didn't get on there yet.
There's 1, 2.
That's probably somebody I waited on.
Yeah, probably. Who's the guy in the back?
The new guy.
The story there was, and I read, why, and long, 5 paragraphs of explanation. Oh, they're great, they're great, they're great, they're great. But I got a better price, like $1 less a pound at Dominick's, and that's why they gave him a 2. And I went, okay, that discount, throw it out. That doesn't matter because all the rest, seriously, all the rest were 5s. And you can't get any better than that because of the quality and the taste. And Boar's Head is one of the quality products that you offer there. And the other thing I wanted to mention is, you briefly talked about it, I want to get into it, is meat infused with flavors. That's something that you do a lot of.
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
Well, the process, it's called vacuum tumbling.
Okay.
And we happen to stumble upon this chef up in Milwaukee that had all these great marinade recipes and everything else. Well, the process starts, you have a stainless steel drum, and you put your meat in there with this marinade, and then it has an airtight lid that you put on there. And there's a vacuum that pulls all the air out.
Okay.
Now you take the drum and you put it on this little tabletop apparatus, and it slowly turns it. So it's called vacuum tumbling.
Okay.
Makes sense?
Okay. So it's not actually hypodermically infused.
No,
It's
no.
by
But see, the
osmosis.
nice thing about it is, like, now when you put that vacuum on that cylinder, the pores of the meat will expand and it absorbs the marinade. So it's not just a surface thing, it actually penetrates.
Right.
So we have, probably about 10 or 12 different types of marinated items in the counter.
And give us an example for like a beef roast. What would you marinate that with?
Well, we've done, actually for beef roast, we haven't really done anything. Chickens, yeah, we've done like an Italian or a lemon herb, stuff like that.
That's great.
A barbecue marinade. And it's all those things that goes back to wanting to have it real easy. You get home, you want to pop it on the grill or in the oven and You know, there's not a lot of labor attached to it.
Right.
So like lime salsa, marinated pork chops, teriyaki London broil, things like that.
Yeah.
I mean, it goes on and on. Marinated flank steaks, pork tenderloins.
Yeah.
This is like an advertisement for Mike's Market.
Yeah, that's right.
It is almost, which is good. And the other thing I wanted to mention too, before these guys come in with more, is the deli side. Everything is there, like I'm familiar with, in a large chunk of meat or sausage or whatever. Okay, I have seen in my travels in Pennsylvania, in the Amish country, where and in other places where the deli will take a flat pan and slice up the meat and display it already sliced in the counter. And I look at it and I go, I don't like. Maybe I'm just not used to it. I'm sure it's fine, but I don't like that. Do you know about that? Why people do that, or what the advantage is? I mean, display looks better, but it takes up more room.
It takes up more room, but it's probably a get them in, get them out type of thing.
That's right.
So you can come in.
When
just
you
get
come
a
in, you
pound
got
of-
5 customers waiting.
Yeah.
And I'll go from the other side.
Have a hunk.
You got it all cut up already. Pound of ham, or whatever you need. And that's it. You know.
And I'm not asking you to do that because I
Well, don't
personally
worry.
don't like it.
And you know what? And it's like for us, not only is it all the different things that we have, whether
Yeah.
it's like the marinated items and things like that, but also the prepared foods that we sell out of our deli,
Yeah.
the Boar's Head Deli program. But it's the customer service aspect. That's huge.
You got the people. You got the people that wait on them.
We're we're real lucky. I've got a
yeah.
great staff. And,
Yeah.
and before I use the term all in,
Right.
they're all like that. And it's one of those things where we like to think that we're going to treat the customer the way we like to be treated. The old golden rule of retail.
Right.
But yeah, it's all about the service experience.
Well, one of the things you also have done recently here in Villa Park is offered sandwiches. You can walk in and get lunch from Mike's Meat Market and come away with either a sub or a beef or a chicken or whatever, and they'll make it for you right there, and they're great. They're fantastic. So you're kind of like a drive-through almost. To get a sandwich for lunch, right?
Yeah. Somebody had asked me about putting tables in the
Yeah,
front
the
of
new
the store.
trend. The new trend now is the tables.
We don't have enough room.
How
that's the only
about
thing.
on the sidewalk in the summertime?
I don't know if there's enough room there
Okay,
either.
yeah,
That's the only bad
I
thing.
mean, the new stores that are coming around today, they're going in competition against the restaurants.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
And they're almost like competing with restaurants as
That's
opposed
right.
to other
Instead of, yeah.
grocery stores.
Well,
They want it
by
all.
having the sit down, but you also are an option for people for lunch to stop by and get a sandwich from Mike's Meat Market.
Oh yeah, and they're priced decent, and we have a loyalty program. So when you get that little card and get your 9 stickers, your 10th sandwich is free.
Yeah.
Another plug.
See that?
I picked that up from Sid.
Yeah, good. Sid's laughing. He likes it.
Now, there's some people in town that he told you where it's at, but where's your store at, actually?
Right at the corner of Villa and St. Charles. So
Yeah,
we're in the shopping center that
Behind the
skirts
Harris Bank.
around the old Villa Park Trust and Savings Bank,
Okay.
now known as BMO.
Yeah, there's still people in town who don't know where it's at,
That's true.
you know.
I know where it's at. I've been there plenty of times.
Yes, you
And
have.
I know these guys have.
But you don't watch the show at all.
I don't.
You don't watch the show.
No, I don't.
The ratings are going to spike now.
They're not going to spike because we have you on. But the other thing I want to talk about now is the aisles of other products that you have in the store. For example, you have fresh produce, you have some packaged goods, and then farther down you have the case for the single meal products.
Dinners
A lot
for
of people-
one, yeah. And that's part of the prepared foods that we do. And Nancy, who's my deli manager in Villa Park, and Kate, who's my deli manager in Western Springs, had worked tirelessly on putting these together.
Yeah.
So you have a little protein, little starch, little carb. And it's nice because we put them in a nice tray that's oven safe or microwave safe.
Microwave safe.
And it's great, something quick, it's easy, and it's all homemade stuff. My favorite is the pot roast,
Yeah.
mashed potatoes, brown gravy, carrots,
Meatloaf.
just like Mom used to make. We also do the meatloaves too.
Yeah. That's what
It's a lot of comfort food like that, and it's been a big hit. I have found like a lot of the seniors like to get that, but if they maintain it's enough for 2 people.
Right.
I don't know if I'd want to call it dinner for 2, but that's just the way I eat, and that's why I look like this. But yeah, it's ideal. Good comfort food. We also make our own homemade pot pies and all sorts of great
You
stuff.
guys are busy. Tell us about where does the majority of your beef, poultry, pork, and fish come from? Who is the supplier for you?
For seafood, I deal with two purveyors. One is Fortune, who they deal with a lot of restaurants and specialty stores, and then there's Euro USA. It's nice because like Fortune is up on Thorndale, they're right close to O'Hare,
Okay.
and we get product
Shipped
in
in
the store
quickly.
every day.
Yeah.
And they deliver early since the bulk of their business is restaurant based. That they're at our store usually by 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning. So it's ideal. We could have at any given time maybe like 8 different types of fresh seafood.
Great salmon cuts.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
yeah, absolutely. So it's great because whatever's seasonal, like Copper River salmon when that's in season, halibut, swordfish, tuna, all that good stuff. So we really do a good job with that. All the pork that we sell is out of Iowa.
Iowa?
Yeah,
Okay.
all natural pork.
One
Beef.
particular farm or just a broker there? or-
There's a couple different ones that we deal with.
Okay.
I've got a gentleman that I buy a lot of our product from that goes down to the market, and he knows what we want, so he can choose from 2 or 3 different types of pork.
Okay.
As far as beef, most of it's Midwestern beef,
Okay.
good old US of A stuff.
Okay. Great. I noticed that I was over at the North Park Mall Sunday, and there's a fruit market store there that is right in the shopping center. And up front, they had this huge rotisserie grill that they were rotating a pig on, and they were going to sell it at something like $11 a pound. I'm looking at it, that is awesome. Can people still get large meat products from you?
Yes.
Okay.
So how you mentioned earlier about getting like a hindquarter side of beef, we still do that.
Yeah.
Or, some people order whole pigs, but that's usually just to throw on a spit.
Yeah.
You're
The
not.
they want the small ones.
Yeah, because if you're going to get a 100-pound pig, you're
Yeah,
not
we
really
could, we
going to
cooked
get
up one, yeah,
big
this
pork
year.
chops.
Yeah.
Right.
You know.
It's for pulled pork at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the one thing you mentioned pulled pork. That's an item that we sell. The pork shoulders we sell like crazy because like every guy has to have a smoker now.
Yes.
That's-
It's a manly thing.
Yeah.
It's a man cave
And with
product.
with the high cost of beef, a lot of people are looking for alternative means. So now they're doing pork or poultry in the smoker.
Yeah. That's great. Well, let's talk a little bit about seasonal, because one of the big draws this time of the year is fresh turkeys, and I know that's a big event for you at Mike's Meat Market come Thanksgiving. How do people get fresh turkeys, and what can they get from Mike's Meat Market this Thanksgiving?
Well, this Thanksgiving is going to be kind of interesting because if you're aware of that avian flu and how that's affected
Yeah,
a lot of the
all the
poultry
birds,
farms,
yeah.
and it's also starting to affect the turkeys.
Okay.
And so now we're getting kind of our sales rep, which is Rosebud Farm, their turkeys that we sell. They are cautiously optimistic about being able to get the sizes that we normally get. Now we get
What does that
small
mean, like
hens.
20 pounds or
Yeah, the smallest ones are like 10 to 12 pounds, and they go all the way up to a larger tom.
25.
Normally would be 25 to 30 pounds,
Wow.
but they're thinking big toms and small hens might be in short supply this year. So
So
now
you have to buy two.
yeah, there you go. Exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, we handle their turkeys and their turkey breasts year round. Usually during the off months, but after Christmas or New Year's, we can just get smaller hens, like 12 to 14 pounds.
Right.
So, and again, who knows what's going to happen this year with Thanksgiving? But that's a big part of our business is just the fresh turkeys.
And what do people need to do? That'll take care for itself. You'll have turkeys this year.
Mhm.
But what do people need to do in order to reserve their fresh turkey? So I don't have to have a frozen turkey that I have to leave somewhere in the refrigerator for 2 days before it thaws out, and then I can cook it. Because I always wait till the last minute. Okay.
Call first.
Okay. Call first. Yeah.
Mhm.
But how long? When should they start asking for a turkey? From
We start taking orders at about the end of October.
Okay.
And and everybody has their oh gosh moment where they realize, like yourself, the couple days before, and we always order a couple hundred extra just to hopefully be able to cover anybody that
For the day
forgets.
before Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Okay.
Of course, I always recommend instead of calling, come on in.
Yes.
Because when you came in to order your turkey a couple of years ago, what happened? You walk out of there with a couple $100 worth of product. So,
Yeah.
Walk out with a turkey, a ham, and a salmon.
But then it's also a good way to come in, and we have a lot of people that will still do that. They may not come in to make a purchase, but we'll have a flyer that has all our offerings. So especially with all the prepared foods, sweet potatoes and green bean almondine, all these great side items to go with your fresh turkey.
Yeah.
So this is a good way to have them, experience what we have to offer.
Yeah, there's a lot of good options because, like you said, turkey is one option for Thanksgiving. It's the predominant one. But hams and salmon, there's people who don't want meat. They want
Yeah.
fish. And you've got a great fish counter there that has lots of different varieties. I did come out spending a good amount of money, but it was fantastic. I got great reviews from what we had that day, turkey, ham, and salmon. It was awesome. And I hope to do that again this year.
I hope you do too.
I'll stop by.
Don't stop.
But go ahead.
You were talking about roasting the pigs before, cooking the pigs. We had one last year, and of course, Grandpa had to go help cut it up. Do you cut them up after we cook them?
Not really. We used to
Okay.
do that, but
Yeah.
I'm going to send a butcher. I'm working on overtime hours, and if it's anyone like myself, I'll probably start drinking, and
Well,
then the workman's comp issues and stuff like that.
Grandpa, sit down here and just cut it up. It's just not that easy.
No, it's not.
No. And we
But
cut
we had done that in the
we
past. But
cut-
it's and it's usually if someone's going to have it on the weekend, that's our busiest time.
Yeah, we
Saturdays and Sundays are
Sunday.
huge.
Yeah, it was Sunday. And we cut up a wild boar this year.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I did. And my son-in-law helped me cut it.
Yeah.
He held it, and we cut them up together. So we
What did
cooked
you end up with? Little small pieces or?
pork chops.
Okay.
Pork chops. Yeah, just like a pig.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like pulled pork. All you're going to do is just start grabbing all that stuff and yanking it off the carcass.
Yeah.
The ribs and everything else we
Yeah.
took off.
That brings up a question. In the hinterlands, outside of the urban or suburban area, butchers are the source for hunters.
Yes.
Bring in their product, whether it's a deer or pheasant or whatever, and have it processed.
That's where we got the boar from.
that?
Yeah.
No.
Can't do
No,
it.
wait.
You can't do it.
Earlier, Dennis had mentioned there were like certain things that were off limits that we weren't going to talk about. I should have said that one. Just kidding. Years ago, we used to do deer.
Yeah.
And you had to wait until you were shut down,
Yeah.
operation-wise. We'd have, if anyone was bringing a deer, we would do it after 6 p.m.
Right.
Then
But
you had
then
to
it
wash
just-
down everything again.
Oh, yeah. And that got to
Everything.
be, it was crazy.
the
It's
county
like
would
right
kill you,
before
yeah.
Thanksgiving, and that's, a crazy
Yeah.
week for us.
Yeah.
And now you've got guys that have been there till, working till 10 or 11 o'clock at night. That was kind of, too much.
Yeah.
And then Lyme disease, stuff like that. And then we weren't able to accommodate by having you'd have to have a separate cooler to
Yeah.
put these deer in. So, not anymore.
I'm going to say the answer is no.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had hang it in the garage and cut it off. Hang it, cut it down in our board.
See, bring it to Dennis. That's what we got to do. Bring it to Dennis.
I don't want no more.
I've been wanting to ask, and we'll get you Sid. I've been wanting to ask, is there a butcher school? I mean, there's a barber school. You didn't go to butcher school. You learned on the job. Hard knocks, right?
Yeah.
Is that the way most butchers?
No,
Absolutely.
meat cutters
No.
learn? What is it?
The old days,
The old days was the Washburn Trade School.
Washburn. Well, we had Jewel had her own apprenticeship. We had to go to stackyards. We worked at the stackyards, old Chicago stackyards,
stackyards, okay.
for about 4 months, each one of us.
Wow.
And we was killing them and everything else right there. And Jewel had us over there, and Jewel had us at their school and everything else.
Yeah.
But those days are gone forever now.
Yeah.
Yeah, because most of the
And
big
Washburn,
stores.
Washburn Trade School was the big one
Oh, yeah.
And that was in
Yeah.
Chicago?
in Chicago. Yeah.
But most of the big stores don't have any butchers left.
No,
You
they
know?
don't. They don't cut on premises most.
But,
Some of them.
the training program that we've done are like we've had some, and we've been real lucky. We've had some young kids that came to work for us doing the cleanup work, and you're doing all the dirty jobs.
You started at 13, right?
Yeah.
Doing that.
That's why I couldn't stand to have to do all that stuff, cleaning bone cans, the coolers,
Oh,
all
God.
that, and I
We
thought,
used
boy, I'll never
Keep the
do
bones
this to my kids.
Keep the bones separate from the fat and everything. Jesus.
Oh yeah, but so we've had some of these. In fact, I've got I think 5 gentlemen that work for me now that are butchers that started out doing cleanup work. Then you graduate from doing the dirty work, then you get to do like food prep, then start making sausage and things like that.
Yeah,
So you kind of just grow into it. But and again, because of the way the business has changed, you're not breaking down 4 quarters of beef or
That's right.
things like that. It's a lot easier.
And they're packing pork up in Minnesota now instead of in Chicago, and so you don't know when you buy. Not knocking Jewel or anybody else, but when you use Dominic. When you buy Dominic's meat, You don't know when that was packed.
Yeah.
You have no idea.
Yeah.
These
Good,
guys
good
pack-
choice, because Dominic's not in the area.
Yeah, that's what I said. I can use them. But, they know when the stuff is packed. They know,
Yeah.
how old it is, everything else.
Yeah, that's always fresh there. Sid, you were going to say something before I stopped. Sorry.
Yeah. You mentioned there's maybe 4 different kinds of pork. What are you talking about?
Oh, just different purveyors or brands. So we've got predominantly there's a Supreme, which is out of I'm trying to remember where in Iowa. I think Northwest Iowa, but Supreme
Okay.
pork.
Now there's right off of I-80. I think there's one big pork farm or pork, whatever you call it, yards, where they get the pigs in and transport them, and you know, depending on which way the wind is coming, you'll know when you're almost a mile away when you're approaching it. That was one of the things I was wondering about. Now, years ago, we used to buy hamburger. And by the way, when I was growing up, hamburger was a treat for me. That was the Sunday dinner. We didn't have a lot of money in those days, but
Now you do.
oh, now
Oh, you
girls unavailable.
Trying to help you out, Sid.
No, but a hamburger was it was hamburger. Later on, to sell it better, it became ground beef. And nowadays, what do you do to it nowadays? You mentioned vacuum mixing and that. Do you do that?
No,
with it?
not with the ground beef.
No.
No. We have it segregated though because there's the ground sirloin, which is over like 95% lean, and then ground rounds around 90, and then our ground chuck's 85%.
But
So-
explain the difference between regular ground beef and a pub burger. There's something different about pub
Well,
burgers.
we do a what we call it's a grill master. So it's ground sirloin with shredded cheddar cheese, diced onion, and a gourmet seasoning salt.
Write
Yeah.
that down, folks.
But that's a big thing. And then because like the beef prices being extremely high, that now there's this renewed love affair with the American consumers with hamburgers. So we make probably about 6 or 7 different types. Because everybody is doing burgers.
Well, we talked about doing burgers at Chamber Steak Fight next year. Instead of the steaks, people are into burgers now instead of steaks.
Well, that's I can say back in the 30s, the dark ages. The pot roast was the best thing for Sunday dinner. That was the greatest.
They
And
don't.
then,
The
of
kids
course,
don't know what
ground
that
beef.
is. The kids don't know what papa roast is.
I'll say pot roast is something Grandma makes.
Yeah, and you go, what is that? Why do I
Meatloaf,
have
too.
to eat that? Yeah.
That was my wife.
David, we've got a great time sitting here chatting with you. I hope we can do this again.
I would love to. I had a ball. This is great.
Good.
I'm honored to be here.
Good.
One more time, tell us where your shop is at.
Yeah.
32 South Villa Avenue,
It's behind the Harris Bank.
behind the Harris Bank.
And
Right down the strip
the
mall from
shopping
Ace
cen-
Hardware and
The
Cuppies.
shopping centers did a great job outside there, all the new decorations. Are they going to do anything with the parking lot,
I'm not going to ask that question. Of course, the nice thing, and
They-
I guess we can thank the Village of Villa Park for the
For the-
facade
that's
improvement
right.
program because
That's right.
that's what stimulated all the work that they did
They
in the
did.
shopping center.
That's great. I
Yeah.
didn't know
And
that.
it works.
Yeah.
It works very good. It works.
New signs for everybody on the front, on the facade.
Well, new signs, but they put the old ones back up there. Some of them,
Yes.
but they did the whole beautiful.
Yeah,
Came
it really
out
looks
nice.
good. I was getting nervous because I asked the gentleman that owns the real estate there. I said, "This is like curb appeal. Are you trying to tell us something?"
Well,
How about this? The things that kind of I would think would be anti-people was where they pile the snow, and you got maybe a 4-inch snowfall. Well, that gives you about a 10-foot fence in front of the
along
shopping
Villa
center.
Avenue,
Yeah. And it's kind of tough where to go with the snow, and it all depends on who's plowing. So they've had some different services come in, and these guys are usually,
Put it on
burning
Villa Avenue,
36
then
hours.
Let the village take it away.
I'm going to remember that.
What can we dump it?
Well, that's just it. You have, because you have on the west side of the shopping center, the hair salon
Yeah.
and Cornerstone and Deb Conroy's place, the vacuum place. You can't dump it in front of there. And then at the far west corner, near where the pottery and the hardware store are at,
Right, yeah,
that's
there's
their
no room
parking.
there.
Yeah, so it's really kind of tough.
It's too bad you couldn't dump it at on Lions Field.
you have to lift it.
Yeah,
You have to
that's
lift it over, yeah.
that's a big wall.
That would be a big,
That'd be a big expense to the field,
labor
too.
intensive, yes.
Well, we got just a few minutes here, Dave, and I want you to please do two things. First of all, remind people how to get to your website and all of that, and where you're located, and also the Casey store in Western Spring and Naperville. You want to talk about that, so let's outline those.
2 minutes.
2 minutes?
Yeah,
Well, our website is caseysmarketonline.com.
okay.
So check it out. It gives you, like you had mentioned, you visit the website, it has a little history. Then you can see if I was correct in my facts or if it was, fiction.
No, you're good. You're good.
Then in Western Springs, Casey's Market there, or second block west of Wolf Road on Burlington. And that's like Villa Park. It's a great town to do business in. And then my brother's place is Casey's Foods, and it's just off of Washington in Gartner, just past Edward Hospital.
Oh, okay, okay.
So,
South of Edwards?
And then finally, on here in Villa Park, 32 South Avenue.
32 South Villa, and we've been here since '69.
Excellent, excellent. And the last thing I want you to do is to mention again the Halloween event that's coming up here in Villa Park.
We're going to be doing our trick or treating from 1. Well, here we go. I think it's 1 o'clock to 3, or is it 1:30 to 3?
Now it is.
We'll say not yet.
No, 1 to 3.
But so all the merchants are going to be giving out candy to the kids,
And that's from the shopping center all the way to the museum, correct?
that is correct.
Okay, so you'll be involved.
And,
Yes. Well,
and there's going to be a Halloween judging costume for the kids?
yes. And so leave your calendar open, Sid. We're planning on you and Al being there.
Uncle
Well-
Sid may have to show up.
And you've been married
And,
29 years
I might
to,
even
what's your
be-
wife's name?
My wife's name is Gail.
And how many kids?
I have 3 kids. Cameron's 18, Liam's 14, and then our little princess Jeannie is 8.
And they're all
Okay.
working in the back.
And just remember,
No,
it's
no.
not slave labor if they're your kids.
And again, it's very, very important to us to shop in Villa Park because,
Shop.
of course, if you're paying sales tax, you're getting an iota of it back, not when you're going into Elmhurst or something like that. And when you're going shopping at a family-owned or a wholly owned store in town, you're getting probably as good a service as you could possibly get. That's the way he built his business. That's the way he's keeping it big, is by giving you absolute personal service. That's it.
And he doesn't want anything for that commercial. Isn't that amazing?
Oh,
Well, I was looking for bratwurst.
All right, guys.
Okay.
We're going to have to close it up here
Close it
because
up.
we want to keep on schedule here. But it's been a great pleasure to have you here.
well, thank you for having me. I had a great time.
And we'll be shopping at Mike's Meat Market here in Villa Park, 32 South Villa, as often as we can. And Dennis and Sid, thanks for helping us. And folks back home, shop at Mike's Meat Market in Villa Park. We'll see you next time.
So long.
See?
Boy, that did go fast.
An hour.